Good morning, students. Today we are here with part E of financial management, that is trading on equity. As you could see in the figure itself, it's a combination of debt capital and equity capital, and how we balance it while we are putting it in the firm is the entire crunch of trading on equity. At your level, we can say this trading on equity is same as that of financial leverage. Now, we have taken up two diagrams here. One in the form of the equity as a shareholder plus debt in terms of creditors, giving a capital structure, and see the thickness of it. And second, where we are balancing at one side debt and other side equity. This point of equilibrium where we are balancing this capital is the main crunch of your financial leverage or trading on equity. So if we say trading on equity is use of borrowed fund and capital in financing the requirement from the company, it indicates the use of debt capital in the capital structure of the company in order to increase the return available to the equity shareholder. Your focus is on increasing the EPS, earning per share. What you could see here, that financial leverage itself refers to the extent to which the firm relies on debt financing. The more debt a firm uses relative to equity, the more financial leverage it employs. We, in our colloquial terms, use both debt by equity or debt by debt plus equity. That is the total capital we take. It is the benefit gained from the borrowings at a lower rate of interest than expected return on the fund employed. Now, what we had taken in the previous slide, return on investment. Return on investment. It is in this reference we are going to see that if your return on investment is greater than your rate of interest, then trading on equity should be taken up. Else it should not be taken up. Companies that are highly leveraged may be at risk of bankruptcy if they are unable to make payment of their debts. So they also might be unable or not in a position to find new lenders in the future. And the tax advantage part, what we say, which we get on the debt capital, because interest is an expense which reduces the tax paid. Now, if you see trading on equity, debt is considered as a cheaper source of financing, and the greater return is earned by equity shareholder, that is EPS, because the business employed debt. I would like you to remember the skeleton that we had discussed, earning before interest and tax, that is EBIT, minus interest gives you earning before tax, minus tax gives you EAT, earning after tax, and then when you deduct tax, then you divide it by number of shares and you get EPS. So it's what we are going to revolve over this concept only. Now, only when your return on investment is greater than the cost of debt, that you should go for trading on equity, otherwise you should not. Otherwise, you should not. You have 1 marks to 3 mark question given on this. Earning per share increases due to reduced tax paid as interest cost was higher. Now, interest is a tax deductible expense. So, net profit before tax lowers and lower taxes paid, so net income increases. Now, till we get a high EBIT to sustain interest payment, we can enjoy high degree of financial leverage. So your EBIT should be sufficiently high. If it is a lower EBIT, we cannot avail this benefit. Let us see, we have taken one example, there are many more we can take up. There are many more we can take up while we'll be discussing the questions. And we'll be merging it with a combined question of financial market also. If we say we are taking two situations, A and B, where the company is getting equity in first situation of 20 lakh and 10% debenture at 10 lakh. And the reverse is the case in situation 2. 10 lakh is from the equity and 20 is from the debenture. And remember, we say the worth is if with less of your effort you can raise more of debt from the market, which we see in the second situation, that equity is less, debt raised is more, and total capital employed is same both the ways. Total capital employed is 30 lakh in both the cases. Now EBIT also remains the same, 4,50,000 minus interest. Now see, we are calculating 10% interest in situation 1 on 10 lakh and in situation 2 on 20 lakh. So it comes to 1 lakh and 2 lakh. When you are deducting this interest, you get earning after interest, EAT. In situation 1, it is 3,50,000. In situation 2, it is 2,50,000. And then you are going for deduction of tax, which you have assumed 30% in both the cases. So it comes to 1,05,000 in situation 1 and 75,000 in situation 2. Now earning after tax is 2,45,000 and 1,75,000. Now this will be divided by number of shares. This will be divided by number of shares. And if we assume the value over there for per share as ₹100, then we have 20,000 shares and 10,000 is situation 2. So divided by the number of shares, it comes to 12.75 and 17.5. Similarly, we can take up more examples where you will find with the same capital base, if the profit is very high, the company is earning or is availing the benefit of trading on equity. But if the profit reduces, the company will not. Just try it. Just try it. I'm giving you base. Two companies with same capital employed, that is 10 lakh. But the variation is first company goes with total 10 lakh from equity because equity has to be there. And second splits it into 6 lakh and 4 lakh. Now you will take first case when EBIT is 2 lakh and second case when EBIT is 80,000 and try to work on it. I'll come up in the question session with this question and I'll discuss how with the same situation but the EBIT changing, the decision will change whether the company should go for employing more of debt in future or equity. Now we come to the next thing. What does trading on equity now? It's all the more clearer that depending upon the company, issuing preferred shares is more profitable than taking more debt. This is because investors who think common stock is too risky are interested in the benefit of the preferred shares. Now for your CBSE purpose, preferred shares we are not taking because they are not yet asked in your board exams. With equity investors, there are no interest obligations and depending on the class of shares being issued, dividend don't have to be paid annually. There's no compulsion on dividend. So this allows the company to gain the capital it needs to expand without immediate cash outlay for interest. So the company is in a position to get time to make profit with new asset. Now, as you could see, trading on equity is a type of trade-off. The firm uses, which we have spoken in the risk-cost trade-off in the previous part also, using finance of debt or equity to purchase new asset. In turn, it uses new assets to pay off for finance of its debts and equity. Now, so thus we can say it's a process involving more of debt to boost your return for equity shareholders, and the company uses these funds to acquire assets. Now, it is also known as financial leverage at your level and is considered successful, which we have taken, if the return on investment is greater than the rate of interest. Now we'll see two common terms that are being used in the market: trading on thick equity and thin equity. What is this? The term gets its name from the fact that the creditors lend money to a company based on company's equity strength. The block that you have, capital block. So the company basically takes advantage of the equity to borrow the fund on a reasonable term. When the borrowed amount is larger compared to the equity, then we say trading on thin equity. With lesser you could raise more, which is a good option. And when the borrowing is small, we say the trading on thick equity has taken place. You have used too much of effort to get that debt. So that is why we say thick equity over here. Now let us see the suitability part. Since trading on equity may lead to uneven earning, it increases the recognized cost of stock options. It is known that option holders are more likely to cash in their options. Obviously, everybody would do that. And since trading on equity leads to more variable earnings, there are more chances that the option will be to earn higher return for the holder. So considering this, we can say that the managers who are not the owners are more likely to use such an option. Using this concept, managers have a chance to boost the value of the stock option. But if it is a family-run business, it will show more interest in financial stability, so they would avoid this financing technique. I would not like to name those corporate houses which are there, but it is understood. Now, when it is a success, when is it a success? So it is profitable when the company is resorting to such financing, is already an established company having goodwill in the market, and is non-speculative in nature. Profit and sales are regular and stable. And based on these scenarios, it is seen that public utility concerns, they often use such financing concept. And these organizations have enough liquidity on a large scale. Now let us see the disadvantages of trading on equity. If your high interest rate is there than earning, then it's not at all favorable. It leads to disproportionate losses if the business is unable to pay off interest or expenses. So financial managers must note, now this is for a case study when they ask how to put up, that financial managers must note that such borrowing can prove extremely risky for the business, which depends upon short-term borrowings to fund the operation. A sudden rise in the short-term interest rate may increase the burden of interest, expense, and could lead to losses. So it is said that trading on equity has to be potential to boost the return of the shareholders, but it also prevents the risk of bankruptcy if the cash flow are below expectations. Now, let us see the advantages then. Enhanced earning by borrowing funds, the company creates a chance to earn more revenue by acquiring new assets because you're only giving a fixed proportion as interest, and it is favorable tax treatment. You get that benefit because it is an expense on the fund borrowed, so it is tax deductible, so you get that benefit. Last but not the least is a very controversial concept. We take three concepts: debt, equity, and retained earning. And we had been learning right from 11th. Now let us see how it works out. How it works out. Every source of fund comes from a cost and the hierarchy that is there. Retained earning, even though we say has no explicit cost, as are internally generated and no payment is to be made, we're showing it as the cheapest, but controversy comes. After all, this retained earning is the part of the profit which could have gone to the equity shareholder as a dividend. So if you're retaining it and you're not wisely using it, then the question mark comes. And debt we say is a cheaper source compared to equity. Interest and principal has to be paid back, but the cost is predefined. So the risk of investment is low and the return is also low. Equity holders being owner, high risk and high return. With this, our financial management comes to an end. Explanation part. Rest will be taking up your numericals and other explanations as and when required by you people. And before examination, I'll be coming with the case studies. Thank you very much. Please do like, subscribe my channel. If you feel if it has anyhow benefited you, your suggestions are most welcome.